The lights in level 8 flickered. They always did. Nobody cared about the lower maintenance levels of Station Area 7. This was where broken things stayed. Broken machines. Broken systems. Broken people. Una sat at her terminal. She had been sitting there for 15 years. The same chair. The same desk. The same dim corridor that smelled like oil and old metal. Her mobility platform hummed beneath her. It was the only sound she made anymore. She was Velthrian. Her kind had delicate bodies covered in pale exoskeletons. Her compound eyes could see more colors than most species knew existed. Her forearms could work faster than any human hands. But she had no legs. The industrial accident took them 15 years ago. One moment of carelessness with a plasma torch. One moment that changed everything. The Velthrians called her broken. They said she brought shame to their people. Perfect bodies were important to them. If you were not perfect, you were nothing. So they sent her here, down to level 8, down where nobody would see her. She did data entry, numbers and reports that nobody read. It kept her alive. It kept her fed. But it was not a life. It was waiting. Waiting for nothing. People walked past her sometimes. Different species from across the galaxy. They all looked away. Some because they pitied her. Some because she made them uncomfortable. Either way, nobody stopped. Nobody spoke. Una had stopped hoping they would. Then one day, someone stopped. Una felt eyes on her. She looked up from her screen. A human stood there. He was young with dark hair and quiet eyes. He wore a maintenance worker uniform. His toolkit hung from his belt. It looked old and used. The human did not look away. He did not look at her with pity. He just watched her work. His eyes moved from her hands to her terminal, to the mobility platform, to the neural ports on her back where legs should have been. Una tried to ignore him. But he came back the next day, and the day after that, always stopping for a few minutes, always watching, never speaking. It made her angry. What did he want? Why would he stare at her like that? His name was Doyen. She learned this from the ID badge on his uniform. He was an engineer. He worked with machines and broken systems. Una wondered if that was why he looked at her. Did he see her as another broken system? 1 week passed, then 2. Doyen kept coming, but now he brought things, small things. A better keyboard that fit her 4 hands perfectly. A screen with filters that did not hurt her compound eyes. A cushion for her platform. He never announced himself. He would just leave the items near her desk. Then he would walk away. Una wanted to tell him to stop. She did not need his pity. But the new keyboard was so much better. The cushion made the long days hurt less, so she said nothing. Doyen started staying longer. He would check the improvements he made. He would adjust things, make them work better. One day he spoke. "The neural ports on your back," he said. His voice was quiet. "Are they standard Velthrian interface?" Una looked at him. Really looked at him for the first time. His eyes were not full of pity. They were full of curiosity, scientific interest. Like he was solving a puzzle. "Yes," she said. Her voice sounded strange. She had not spoken to anyone in months. "Why?" "Just wondering," Doyen said. But his eyes stayed on the ports, on the place where her legs used to be. That night, Una could not sleep. She kept thinking about the human, about the way he looked at her, like she was a problem that could be solved. But she knew better. The best Velthrian doctors had tried. They said her neural system was too damaged. The plasma that took her legs burned too deep. Prosthetics would never work. She was stuck like this forever. The next day, Doyen brought a scanner, medical grade, expensive. "May I scan your neural structure?" he asked. Una felt anger rise in her chest. "Why? So you can confirm what everyone already knows? That I am broken? That I cannot be fixed?" Doyen looked at her. His face was calm. "I do not think you are broken," he said. "I think you have a problem. Problems can be solved. The doctors said it was impossible." "Velthrian doctors," Doyen said. He opened his toolkit. Inside, Una saw strange tools. Human designs. Humans think differently. We do not accept impossible. He pulled out a worn photograph. It showed a human woman with one arm. The other arm was mechanical. It looked complex and beautiful. "This was my sister," Doyen said. His voice was soft. "Hyejin. She lost her arm in a mining accident. They told her she would never work again. Never use tools again. But she did not accept that. She designed her own prosthetic. She improved it every day. She died in a collapse 5 years ago, but she died using both her arms. He put the photograph away. I want to help you the way I could not help her. I want to give you back what you lost. Yuna felt something strange in her chest. It hurt. She realized it was hope. She had not felt hope in 15 years. It was dangerous. Hope could break you worse than any accident. Why? She asked. Why would you help me? Doyen smiled. It was a sad smile. Because nobody should have to sit in the dark for 15 years. Because you deserve better, and because humans are too stubborn to know when to quit. Yuna looked at the scanner, at the human standing before her, at the possibility of something different. She had spent 15 years accepting her fate. What would it cost to hope for one more day? Scan me, she said. The scanner hummed to life. Blue light washed over her. Doyen watched the screen carefully. His eyes moved quickly, reading, analyzing, planning. The damage is bad, he said, but not impossible. Your neural pathways are still there. They just need the right connection. The right interface. He pulled out a tablet and started drawing. Lines and circles. Designs and measurements. It will take time, he said. Months, maybe longer. I will need to build something new. Something that works with Velthrian biology. But I think I can do it. Yuna watched him work. This strange human who saw her as a puzzle instead of a problem. Who looked at her broken body and saw possibility. What if it does not work? She asked quietly. Doyen looked up at her. Then we try again. And again, until it does. That is what humans do. We do not give up. That night Yuna sat at her terminal. But she was not working. She was watching her reflection in the dark screen. For 15 years she had seen only a broken thing. But now she tried to imagine something different. Legs made of metal and wire. Strong legs that would not fail. Legs that would let her walk again. It was too much to hope for. But the human had planted a seed in her mind. And for the first time in 15 years, Yuna let herself dream of walking out of level 8. Of seeing the station's upper levels. Of standing on her own. The next morning, Doyen came back with more equipment. He set up a small workshop in an empty corner near her desk. He worked while she did her data entry. Neither spoke much. But something had changed. The silence was not lonely anymore. It was filled with possibility. Sometimes Yuna would watch him work. His hands moved with confidence, like he had done this 1,000 times. She knew he had not. This was new, different, dangerous even. But he did not hesitate. He just kept working. That was when Yuna understood. This was not about her. Not really. This was about his sister. About the help he could not give her. About making sure someone else did not have to give up their dreams. She did not know if she could trust this hope. But she knew she could trust him. And maybe that was enough. 3 weeks passed. Doyen came to level 8 every day. He brought tools and materials. Strange metals that Yuna had never seen. Wires thinner than hair. Circuit boards covered in tiny lights. He worked quietly in his corner. Sometimes he would ask Yuna questions about Velthrian biology. She answered carefully. She still did not fully trust this. One day another human came. A woman with sharp eyes and short hair. She wore the same maintenance uniform as Doyen. She looked at Yuna with curiosity but not pity. Yuna liked that. This is Jiwon, Doyen said. She works with materials. I need her help. Jiwon walked around Yuna's platform. She looked at the neural ports, at the way Yuna's body ended. She hummed thoughtfully. Can you really do this? Jiwon asked Doyen. Nobody has made prosthetics for Velthrians before. That is why it will work, Doyen said. Everyone else gave up. We will not, Jiwon looked at Yuna. This will be experimental. It might hurt. It might not work. Are you sure you want to try? Yuna thought about 15 years of sitting. 15 years of silence. 15 years of being nothing. Yes, she said. I am sure, Jiwon nodded. She pulled out a tablet and started taking notes. We will need titanium alloy, the kind we use for ship hulls, and synthetic muscle fibers, and neural conductors that work with insect biology. Can you get those materials? Doyen asked. Jiwon smiled. Not officially, but I know people. Give me 2 weeks, she left. Doyen kept working. Yuna watched him. She was starting to understand his process. He would build something, test it, find what was wrong, build it again. He never got frustrated. He just kept trying. Why do you do this? Yuna asked one evening. Most of the station was quiet. Just the two of them and the hum of machines. Doyen looked up from his work. Do what? Help me. You do not know me. This is not your job. You could get in trouble. Do-yoon was quiet for a moment. My sister used to say something. She said that we are all just meat and bones. But what we do with our meat and bones is what makes us human. She used her prosthetic arm to help others, to build things, to create. I want to honor that. I am not human, Yuna said quietly. No, Do-yoon agreed. But you deserve the same chance she had. Everyone does. Yuna felt something warm in her chest. Nobody had talked to her like this in years. Like she mattered. Like she was worth the effort. The weeks turned into months. Ji-won brought materials secretly. Do-yoon built and rebuilt. Yuna helped when she could. She knew programming. She helped design the neural interface, the connection between brain and machine. It was complex work. But for the first time in 15 years, Yuna felt useful. They worked late into the nights. Do-yoon would bring food. Human food that Yuna had never tried. Some of it was good. Some of it was terrible. They would laugh about it. Yuna had forgotten how to laugh. It felt strange but good. Ji-won would visit sometimes. She would check their progress, offer suggestions, bring better materials. She never asked for payment. Neither did Do-yoon. Yuna asked why once. Some things are not about money, Ji-won said. Some things are about proving what is possible. But not everyone was happy about the project. One day a Velthrian came to level 8. His name was Overseer Thex. He was tall and important. He looked at Yuna with disgust. What is this? He demanded. He pointed at Do-yoon's workshop, at the mechanical parts scattered around. A project, Do-yoon said calmly. A waste of time, Thex said. She is damaged. Acceptance is the Velthrian way. You should not encourage false hope. Hope is never false, Do-yoon said. His voice was still calm but harder now. And I am not Velthrian. I do not accept that people are beyond help. Thex turned to Yuna. You shame us. You shame all Velthrians. You should have stayed hidden. For 15 years those words would have hurt Yuna, would have made her shrink, made her feel small. But now she had spent months working with Do-yoon, months feeling useful, months remembering what it felt like to matter. Maybe, Yuna said quietly, or maybe you are the ones who should be ashamed. For giving up on your own people? Thex looked shocked. He opened his mouth, closed it. Then he left without another word. Do-yoon smiled at her. That was brave. That was foolish, Yuna said. But she was smiling too. After that they worked faster, more urgently. They both knew Thex would cause problems. They needed to finish before he could stop them. Finally, after 3 months, the first prototype was ready. It sat on Do-yoon's workbench. 2 mechanical legs. They were not pretty. Exposed wires. Rough metal. But they were functional. They could work. Do-yoon held them carefully. His hands shook slightly. These might not work perfectly, he said. We might need to try many times, but I think we are ready to test them. Yuna looked at the mechanical legs. They looked alien, strange, not like her old legs at all, but they represented something impossible, something everyone said could not be done. When? She asked. Tomorrow, Do-yoon said. We will need Ji-won here, and medical equipment. It will take several hours. That night, Yuna could not sleep. She had not slept well in 15 years. But this was different. This was not the restless sleep of despair. This was anticipation, fear and hope mixed together. She thought about walking, about standing on her own, about leaving level 8, about seeing the sky beyond the station windows, about being whole again. But she also thought about failure, about the pain if the neural connection did not work, about false hope proving false after all, about disappointing Do-yoon who had worked so hard. Morning came too fast and too slow. Do-yoon arrived early. Ji-won came with him. They brought medical scanners and emergency supplies. They set up around Yuna's platform like a surgical theater. Are you ready? Do-yoon asked. Yuna looked at the mechanical legs, at Do-yoon's worried face, at Ji-won's steady hands, at the hope she had been afraid to feel. Yes, she said. I am ready. Do-yoon picked up the first leg. He moved it toward her neural ports. The connection points glowed with soft blue light. This was it, the moment that would change everything. Or change nothing. Yuna closed her eyes. She felt the cool metal touch her back, felt the connection start, felt electricity run through nerves that had been silent for 15 years. And then she felt pain, not the old pain of loss, but new pain, the pain of sensation returning, of connection reestablished. of something that had been dead coming back to life. She screamed, but she did not tell them to stop, because through the pain, she felt something else. She felt her leg, her new mechanical leg. She felt it move when she thought about moving it. She felt it respond to her will. For the first time in 15 years, Yuna had a leg, and it worked. The connection took 6 hours, both legs attached to Yuna's neural ports. Doyen worked carefully. His hands were steady even though sweat dripped down his face. Jiwon monitored the medical scanners. She called out numbers. Heart rate, neural activity, connection strength. Yuna felt everything, the metal connecting to her nerves. The electricity flowing through pathways that had been dark for so long. It hurt, but it also felt real, more real than anything had felt in 15 years. Finally, Doyen stepped back. The mechanical legs were attached. They hummed softly. Blue lights blinked along the joints. The neural interface glowed. Try to move them, Doyen said quietly. Yuna thought about moving, about flexing muscles she had not used in 15 years, about standing. The mechanical legs twitched. Just a little, but they moved. It works, she whispered. They respond, Doyen smiled. But it was a tired smile. The connection works. Now we need to see if you can stand. They helped Yuna off the mobility platform. For the first time in 15 years, she was not supported by the hovering chair. Just the mechanical legs. Her forearms gripped Doyen and Jiwon. She tried to push herself up. The legs moved. They extended. But something was wrong. The feedback was too strong. Every sensor screamed at once: weight, pressure, position, balance. It was too much. 15 years of silence followed by this flood of information. Yuna's brain could not process it all. She tried to stand. The legs wobbled. She fell. Doyen and Jiwon caught her. They tried again. Again she fell. The legs would not stay steady. The neural connection was there but chaotic, like trying to hear a whisper in a storm. After an hour of trying, Jiwon checked the scanners. Her face was worried. The neural strain is too high, she said. We need to stop. Her brain cannot handle this much input. No, Yuna said. Let me try again. Just one more time. Yuna, Doyen said gently. We could hurt you. Permanent damage. We need to disconnect. Yuna felt tears in her compound eyes. She had been so close. She felt the legs, felt them respond. But her body had forgotten how to walk. 15 years was too long. They disconnected the legs. The silence returned. The empty feeling where the connection had been. Yuna went back to her mobility platform. Back to where she started. Except now it felt worse, because now she knew what she was missing. I am sorry, Doyen said. He looked crushed, like he had failed. You tried, Yuna said. Her voice was flat, empty. Thank you for trying. They left her alone. Yuna sat at her terminal, but she did not work. She just stared at the screen, at her reflection. She had been a fool to hope. Overseer Thex was right. Some things could not be fixed. The next day, Overseer Thex returned. He brought station security with him. They looked at Doyen's workshop, at the mechanical legs sitting on the bench. This is unauthorized medical experimentation, Thex said. I am filing a formal complaint. These devices will be confiscated. You cannot do that, Doyen said, but his voice was uncertain. I can and I will, Thex said. You are not a licensed medical professional. You have no right to conduct these experiments. The devices are dangerous. They caused her pain. This ends now. Security took the mechanical legs. They took Doyen's tools. They took his notes. Doyen tried to argue, but Thex had the law on his side. Medical regulations were strict on the station. What Doyen had done was technically illegal. After they left, Doyen stood in the empty space where his workshop had been. He looked lost. I'm sorry, Yuna said. This is my fault. I should have said no. I should have known better. No, Doyen said. This is not your fault. The design was wrong. The feedback loop was unstable. I made mistakes. It does not matter now, Yuna said. It is over. Please just forget about me. Forget about this project. Go back to your normal life, Doyen looked at her. You want me to give up? Yes, some things cannot be fixed. The Velthrians were right. I need to accept my fate. Doyen was quiet for a long time. Then he turned and walked away. Yuna watched him go. She felt relief, and sadness, and something else, regret for believing, for hoping, for letting herself imagine something different. Days passed. Doyen did not come back. Yuna returned to her routine. Data entry, numbers and reports, sitting alone in level 8. But now it felt worse, because for 3 months she had not been alone. She had friends. She had purpose. She had hope, and now she had nothing again. 1 week after the confiscation, Ji-won came to level 8. She looked tired, worried. "Have you seen Doyun?" she asked. "Not since they took the legs," Yuna said. "He is not at work. Not at his quarters. Nobody has seen him for 3 days." Yuna felt worry twist in her chest. "Where would he go?" Ji-won shook her head. "I do not know, but I am worried." He was really upset after the confiscation. That night, Yuna could not work. She kept thinking about Doyen, about his sad eyes when they took his project, about how he said failure reminded him of losing his sister. What if he did something foolish? What if he was in trouble? Late that night, Yuna heard footsteps. Heavy footsteps. Something being dragged. She looked up from her terminal. Doyen stood there. He looked terrible. His hair was messy. His eyes were red. He carried a large bag. And in his hands, he held the mechanical legs. "What did you do?" Yuna asked. "I broke into the security office," Doyen said. His voice was hoarse. "I took them back. I took all my tools and notes." "You what?" "Doyen, that is theft. They will arrest you. They will send you away." "Maybe," Doyen said. He set the legs down. "But first we are going to fix the design." The problem was the feedback buffer. Too much information at once. Your brain could not filter it. "I know how to fix it now." "Doyen, you cannot do this. It is too risky. You will lose everything." Doyen looked at her. His eyes were fierce. "I told you. Humans do not give up. We do not accept impossible. My sister taught me that. She fought every day to use her prosthetic. Every single day. I will not dishonor her memory by quitting now. But I told you to stop. I said some things cannot be fixed." "You were scared," Doyen said. "And hurt. And disappointed. I understand. But did you mean it? Do you really want me to give up?" Yuna looked at the mechanical legs, at Doyen's determined face, at the possibility sitting right there in front of her. "No," she whispered. "No, I do not want you to give up." Doyen smiled. It was his first real smile in days. "Good, because I found an abandoned cargo bay. It is hidden. Security does not patrol there. We can work in secret. We have time to do this right." "How much time?" "They are preparing deportation papers. I have maybe 3 days. Maybe a week if we are lucky." Yuna felt her hearts beat faster. 3 days, 1 week. It was not much time, but it was more than 0. It was a chance. "Then we should not waste time," she said. "Show me this cargo bay. Let us finish what we started." Doyen helped her onto a transport cart. He loaded the mechanical legs and his tools. Together they left level 8, moving through dark corridors, heading deeper into the station, into the restricted zones where nobody went. As they traveled, Yuna felt something she had not felt before. She felt like she was part of something. Not sitting alone, not waiting for nothing, but moving forward, fighting, refusing to accept defeat. Maybe she was foolish. Maybe they would fail again. Maybe Doyen would be deported and she would be left alone. But maybe, just maybe, humans were right. Maybe impossible was just a word. Maybe stubbornness was a virtue. Maybe hope was worth fighting for. They reached the cargo bay. It was dark and dusty, but it was private, safe. Doyen set up his workshop again. The mechanical legs sat on a makeshift table, waiting. "Let us begin," Doyen said. And they did. They worked for 3 days straight. No sleep, little food, just work. Doyen redesigned the neural buffer 17 times. Each time he tested it. Each time something was wrong. Too slow, too fast. Too much feedback. Not enough. Yuna helped however she could. She knew Velthrian meditation techniques, ancient practices her people used before modern technology. Ways to filter mental noise. Ways to focus thoughts. "My grandmother taught me," she explained, "before the plasma accident. She said our ancestors used these methods to control their exoskeletons. Natural feedback loops." Doyen's eyes lit up. "Can you teach me?" "Maybe we can build that into the interface. Use your natural biology instead of fighting it." They worked together. Yuna explained the meditation patterns. Doyen translated them into code, into neural pathways, into something the mechanical legs could understand. On the 4th day, Ji-won found them. She had been searching. She brought food and water, and news. The deportation order is approved, she said. They come for you tomorrow, Doyen. Station security is looking everywhere. Doyen looked at the mechanical legs. They were different now. Sleeker. The joints moved more smoothly. The neural interface had been completely rebuilt. But they were not tested. They might not work. We do it now, he said. We have to try. Now? Ji-won asked. But we have not tested the interface. We do not know if it is safe. It is now or never, Doyen said. He looked at Yuna. What do you think? Yuna looked at the legs. At her last chance. She thought about 15 years of sitting. About the brief moment when she felt the connection before. About pain and hope mixed together. Do it, she said. Connect them. Doyen and Ji-won worked together. They positioned the legs, connected the neural ports, activated the interface. Blue light flowed through the connections. Yuna felt electricity. But this time it was different. Not chaos. Not overwhelming. Gentle, like water flowing. She felt the legs. Really felt them. Not just sensation, but control, understanding. Like they were part of her. Like they had always been there. How does it feel? Doyen asked quietly. Right, Yuna whispered. It feels right. They helped her off the platform. She put weight on the mechanical legs. They held, steady, strong, not wobbling like before. She tried to stand. The legs pushed. She rose up, standing. For the first time in 15 years, Yuna stood on her own. No platform. No support. Just her and the mechanical legs and the floor beneath her. I am standing, she said. Her voice shook. I am actually standing. Doyen's eyes were wet. Can you walk? Try one step, walking. The thing she dreamed about every night. The thing she thought she would never do again. Yuna thought about moving forward. About lifting her right leg. The mechanical leg responded. It lifted, moved forward, planted one step. She had taken one step. The left leg followed. Another step. Then another, slow, careful, but walking. Actually walking. Yuna walked across the cargo bay. 10 steps, 20. She turned around. Walked back. Her legs moved like they had never stopped. Like 15 years had never happened. Then her legs gave out. She stumbled. Doyen caught her. She was shaking, crying, laughing, all at once. I walked. She sobbed into his shoulder. I walked. You gave me back my legs. You did it yourself, Doyen said. His voice was thick with emotion. Your meditation techniques. Your biology. I just built the bridge. Ji-won wiped her eyes. This is incredible. You actually did it. Both of you, they sat for a long time. Yuna needed rest. The walking had exhausted her. Her muscles had forgotten how to work. But they would remember. She would practice. She would walk again and again until it felt natural. What now? Ji-won asked. Security is still looking for Doyen. The deportation order stands. Even if the legs work, they will still take him away. Doyen nodded. I know, but at least we proved it works. At least Yuna has her legs. No, Yuna said firmly. That is not enough. You risked everything for me. Now I will fight for you. How? Doyen asked. We show them, Yuna said. We show everyone what you did. What we did together. We make them understand that this is not experimentation. This is hope. Before they could plan further, they heard sounds outside the cargo bay. Heavy footsteps. Multiple people, security, they had been found. The door opened. Light flooded in. Overseer Thek stood there. Behind him, a dozen security officers. Their weapons were drawn, Doyen, Thek said. You are under arrest for theft and unauthorized medical procedures. Come quietly, Doyen stood. He raised his hands, ready to surrender, but Yuna grabbed his arm. Wait, she said. She took a deep breath. Then she stood. Without help. Without support. Just her and her mechanical legs. Thek stared. His compound eyes went wide. The security officers stopped moving. Everyone watched as Yuna stood tall, steady, whole. Then she took a step. Toward Thek's, another step. Walking. The mechanical legs moved perfectly. No wobbling. No falling. Just smooth, natural movement. She walked right up to the overseer. She stood at her full height, looking him in his compound eyes. Tell them, she said. Her voice was strong. Tell them that I am not broken anymore. Tell them what this human did. What was impossible. Thex could not speak. He just stared at her legs. At the way they moved. At the proof standing right in front of him. How? He finally whispered. The doctor said it was impossible. Your neural damage was too severe. Velthrian doctors gave up, Una said. This human did not. He saw a problem. He solved it. That is what humans do. They refuse to accept defeat. One of the security officers spoke. Sir, what do we do? Thex was quiet for a long time. He looked at Una, at Doyen, at the mechanical legs that should not work but did. Finally he spoke. Record this, he said. Record everything. The station council will want to see it. He turned to Doyen. You still broke the law. You stole property. You conducted illegal medical procedures. I know, Doyen said quietly. But you also did something nobody else could do. Thex continued. His voice was different now. Less angry. More thoughtful. My daughter lost her legs 3 years ago. I told her to accept it. To be strong. But maybe I was wrong. He looked at Una again. Show me your legs. Explain how they work. Una walked around the cargo bay. She showed the joints, the neural connections, the way the interface worked with Velthrian biology. Thex watched everything, asked questions, took notes. We need to present this to the council, he said finally. A formal demonstration. If they see what I see, maybe they will understand. Maybe they will see that you were not conducting experiments. You were solving a problem. What about the deportation? Jiwan asked. I will delay it, Thex said.
3 days.
That is all I can give you. Prepare your demonstration. Make it good. He left with his security team. The cargo bay was quiet again. Una sat down slowly. Her legs were tired. But they worked. She had walked. She had stood up to the overseer. She had fought back. 3 days, Doyen said. We can do this. We can show them what is possible. Una looked at her mechanical legs. They gleamed in the dim light. Beautiful and strange. Not what she lost, but something new. Something better in some ways. Yes, she said. We can do this together. And for the first time in 15 years, Una felt truly alive. The council chamber was huge. Una had never been here before. Level 8 workers did not come to places like this. The ceiling was high. The walls were polished metal. Seats rose in circles around a central platform. Every seat was filled. Representatives from dozens of species watched. Velthrians, humans. Others Una had never seen before. They all stared at her. At her mechanical legs, Doyen stood beside her. Jiwan was there too, and Overseer Thex. They were all here to testify, to show what had been done, to argue for or against what happened. The council leader spoke. She was Velthrian, old and important. Her voice filled the chamber. We are here to judge the actions of Engineer Doyen. He is accused of theft, of unauthorized medical procedures, of endangering a citizen. Overseer Thex will present the charges. Thex stood, but when he spoke, his words were not what Una expected. The charges are true, Thex said. Doyen broke laws. But I must also present evidence of what he achieved, something our own medical professionals declared impossible. He showed videos, Una walking, standing, moving naturally. The council watched in silence. Some leaned forward, interested, others looked angry, defensive. A human representative stood. Her name was Ambassador Nari. She was young but confident. My people have a saying, Nari said. Impossible is just a lack of imagination. We believe that every problem has a solution. Every disability can be addressed. Doyen's actions reflect human values, values of hope and innovation. A Velthrian elder stood. He looked angry. Those are human values, not ours. We teach acceptance. We teach that some limitations are natural, proper. This human disrupted our way of life. He gave false hope. False hope? Nari pointed at Una. She is standing right there, walking. That is not false. That is real. The arguments went on for hours. Lawyers and representatives debating. Some wanted Doyen punished, deported, never allowed back. Others wanted him celebrated. Given awards. Both sides had strong feelings. Finally, the council leader raised her hand. Silence fell. We will hear from the subject herself, she said. Una, come forward, speak. Una's hearts raced. She had never spoken to so many people, never been the center of attention. For 15 years she had been invisible. Now everyone watched her. She walked to the center platform. Her mechanical legs carried her smoothly, confidently. She stood tall. Looked at all the faces watching her. 15 years ago I lost my legs, she began. Her voice was quiet but clear. Our doctors said I would never walk again. They said I should accept my fate. Be grateful I was alive, so I did. I sat in level 8. Alone, forgotten, for 15 years. She paused. Looked at the Velthrian representatives. My own people abandoned me. Called me broken, shameful, I believed them. I thought I was worthless. Then she looked at Doyen. This human saw me differently. He did not see shame. He saw a problem to solve. He did not give me false hope. He gave me real hope. And then he made it real. She walked across the platform, demonstrating. You say he broke laws. Yes, he did. But what law is more important? The law that says proper procedures must be followed, or the law that says every being deserves dignity, the chance to be whole? Her voice grew stronger. Doyen did not experiment on me. He worked with me. He listened to me. He combined human technology with Velthrian wisdom. He showed me that different species can create something better together. She stopped in the center. Stood perfectly still. I am not the only one. There are others like me. Beings from many species, disabled, forgotten, told to accept their fate. What will you tell them? That hope is against the rules? The chamber was silent. Every being there was thinking, considering. Yuna could see it on their faces. The council leader spoke. We will deliberate. You will have our decision in 3 days. Those 3 days were hard. Yuna practiced walking, getting stronger, more confident. Doyen prepared for deportation. Just in case. They did not talk much about what might happen. It hurt too much, but other things happened. Disabled beings from across the station began coming to them. Quietly, secretly. A Krillian who lost his arms. A human with a damaged spine. A Tethian whose cognitive implants failed. They all asked the same question. Could this work for them? I cannot help you yet, Doyen told them sadly. I may be deported, but if I stay I will try. I promise. On the 3rd day they returned to the council chamber. It was packed. Even more beings than before. News had spread. Everyone wanted to know the decision. The council leader stood. We have reached a decision. This was not easy. Laws exist for good reasons, but laws must also serve the people they govern. She looked at Doyun. You broke laws. You will be fined. You will be formally reprimanded. But you will not be deported. Relief flooded through Yuna. Doyen closed his eyes, breathed deeply. Furthermore, the council leader continued, we are establishing a new division, the Adaptive Technology Research Center. Its purpose is to develop assistive devices for all species, to ensure that what happened to Yuna never happens again, that nobody is told their situation is hopeless. She looked at Yuna and Doyun. You will lead this center, together, if you accept. Yuna could not speak. Could not breathe. Lead a center, her? The broken thing from level 8? Yes, Doyen said immediately. We accept. He looked at Yuna, smiled, right? Yuna found her voice. Yes, we accept. The chamber erupted in sound. Some beings cheered. Others argued. But most just watched with wonder. Change was happening. Real change. After the session, Overseer Thex approached them. He looked uncomfortable, my daughter, he said quietly. Kira. She lost her legs 3 years ago. I told her to be strong. To accept, but I was wrong. Can you help her? Yuna looked at the being who had called her shameful, who had tried to stop all of this. She could have said no. Could have been angry. But she understood him now. He had been protecting his daughter the only way he knew. By teaching her not to hope. Not to hurt, bring her to the center, Yuna said gently. We will help her. That is why we are doing this. Thex's compound eyes glistened. He nodded, could not speak. Just nodded and walked away. That evening, Yuna stood at an observation window. She watched ships come and go from the station. She had never been to this level before. Never seen this view. Her mechanical legs hummed softly beneath her, working, supporting her, letting her stand and watch the stars. Doyun joined her. They stood in comfortable silence. So much had changed. So much was possible now. Thank you, Yuna said finally. For what? For not giving up. For seeing me as more than broken. For showing me that humans really do refuse to accept impossible. Doyen smiled. My sister would have liked you. She would have loved this project. Loved seeing what we built together. I wish I could have met her. In a way you did, Doyen said. Every step you take, every person we help, That is her legacy. That is what she taught me. Never accept that someone is beyond help. Yuna reached out, took his hand with one of her 4 hands. They stood together, watching the stars, ready for whatever came next. The Adaptive Technology Research Center opened 6 months later. It was small at first, 5 rooms, basic equipment, but it was real, and it was just the beginning. 2 years passed. The center grew. What started as 5 rooms became 2 floors. The team expanded. Doyen led the engineering work. Joan managed operations, but Yuna became the heart of the center. She worked with patients, helped them understand, gave them hope. Kira, Overseer Thex's daughter, was their first patient. She was young, angry. She had given up hope long ago. Yuna saw herself in the young Velthrian. The pain, the shame, the loneliness. "I do not want your pity," Kira said on her first visit. "Good," Yuna replied, "because I am not giving you pity. I am giving you a choice. Stay as you are, or fight for something different." She walked across the room. Her mechanical legs moved smoothly, naturally. "I sat alone for 15 years. I thought I was broken, worthless. Then someone showed me I was wrong. Now I am showing you it took months." But Kira eventually walked. Her legs were different from Yuna's, newer technology, better design. They learned something from every patient. Every case made them better. More humans joined the team. A biomedical engineer named Taejun brought new ideas about nerve connections. A materials scientist named Yoonji developed smart metals that adapted to movement. Each person added something valuable, but the breakthrough came when they faced an impossible case. A young Vrissian was brought to the center. His name was Shale. He had been injured in an industrial accident. Lost both legs, but Vrissians were different from other species. Their bodies were partly crystalline. Regular prosthetics would not work. Medical experts from across the galaxy said it could not be done. Vrissian physiology was too complex, too delicate. The crystal structures could not be replicated. But Doyen heard those words before. Impossible. Cannot be done. He had learned to ignore them. The Galactic Medical Council sent inspectors to watch. They wanted to see the center fail, wanted to prove that some problems were beyond human stubbornness. Doyen's team worked for 72 hours without stopping. They created a crystal polymer hybrid, something that looked like Vrissian bone but could be shaped, controlled. They designed neural interfaces that worked with crystalline nerve structures. They adapted power systems to process light instead of electricity. The medical council watched, skeptical, certain of failure. But when Shale stood on legs that glittered like diamonds when he took his first careful steps, something changed in their faces. Disbelief became wonder. How? One inspector asked. This was declared impossible by our best scientists. Maybe your best scientists accepted impossible too easily, Doyen said. We do not accept it at all. The council's report changed everything. They recommended that similar centers be established on 12 major stations across the galaxy, with human engineers leading the technical work. The stubborn approach, the refusal to quit, it was spreading. Yuna trained new advocates, beings who had received prosthetics and wanted to help others. They understood the fear, the shame, the hope. They could reach patients in ways doctors could not. Kira became one of the best. She worked with young Velthrians who had lost limbs, showed them her legs, told them her story. Many Velthrians were changing their views, slowly, accepting that perfection was not the only way. One evening, Doyen found Yuna in the rehabilitation room. She was practicing with new patients, teaching them to walk. Her movements were fluid now. No hesitation, no uncertainty. The mechanical legs were part of her. Natural. Do you remember level 8? He asked. Yuna looked at him, smiled. Every day. It reminds me why we do this. We have helped over 10,000 beings now, Doyen said, across 47 species. And the other centers are just starting. It is not enough, Yuna said, but she was smiling. There are millions more, beings who still think they are broken, who have given up hope. Then we keep working, Doyen said. That is what we do. A message came through, urgent, from Earth. The human government wanted to establish similar centers on every human colony. They wanted Doyen's help, his expertise, his stubborn refusal to accept impossible. Will you go? Yuna asked. The thought of him leaving hurt. But she understood. This was bigger than them now. "We will go," Doyen said. "Together. We built this together. We will build the others together too." Yuna felt warmth spread through her. Not just one of them. Both of them. A team, partners. They left Station Area 7 6 months later, but the center continued without them. Jiwon took over operations. Kira became the new patient advocate. Taijun and Eunji led research. The work would continue. It had become bigger than any one person. As their ship pulled away from the station, Yuna looked back at Level 8. She could not see it from here. But she knew it was there. Dark corridors. Flickering lights. Maybe someone else sat there now. Alone, forgotten, thinking they were broken. But now there was hope. Now there was the center. Now there were people who refused to accept impossible. "What are you thinking about?" Doyen asked. "About how far we have come," Yuna said. "About how far we still have to go." "And how do you feel about that?" Yuna looked at her mechanical legs, at the human sitting beside her, at the galaxy full of possibility ahead. "Ready," she said. "I feel ready." Over the next year, they traveled to 12 worlds, helped establish new centers, trained new teams. Everywhere they went, they met beings like Yuna had been, disabled, forgotten, hopeless. And everywhere they went, they showed those beings something different. A future, a chance, a refusal to accept that anything was truly impossible. Young Shale, the Vrishian child, grew up. He decided to become an engineer, wanted to help others with crystalline physiology, wanted to show them what was possible. He studied under Doyen, learned the human way, the stubborn way, the way that refused to quit. Other species started adopting human approaches, not just for prosthetics, for other problems too. Environmental restoration, refugee integration, medical challenges that seemed unsolvable. The human philosophy was spreading. If a problem exists, a solution exists. You just have to be stubborn enough to find it. A new saying emerged in galactic society. When faced with impossible challenges, beings would say, "Ask a human. They are too stubborn to know when to quit." It was meant as a joke at first. But it became something else. A compliment, recognition. Humans had given the galaxy something valuable. Not just technology, not just engineering, but hope. The belief that every being deserved a chance. That no problem was truly impossible. That stubbornness was sometimes exactly what was needed. Back on Station Area 7, a young Velthrian sat in Level 8. She had lost her legs in an accident. She thought her life was over. But then someone told her about the center. About a Velthrian named Yuna, who sat in the same corridor for 15 years. Who walked again because a human refused to give up. The young Velthrian went to the center. Kira met her there, showed her the possibilities, gave her hope. The cycle continued. Each person helped spreading the message. Nobody is broken. Nobody is beyond help. Some problems just need stubborn humans to solve them. Years passed. The centers multiplied. Dozens became hundreds. The technology improved, became cheaper, more accessible. What started with one human helping one Velthrian became a movement that changed galactic society. And through it all, Yuna walked. Every step a reminder of what was possible. Every step a testimony to human stubbornness. Every step a gift. 50 years later, Station Area 7 looked different. The lower levels were no longer dark and forgotten. Level 8 had been converted into a museum, a memorial. People came from across the galaxy to see where it all started, where one human refused to accept impossible. In the central plaza, a monument stood, bronze statues of two figures, a human and a Velthrian, standing together. At the base, words were carved in 7 languages, a message for all species to read, in memory of Hijin, whose strength inspired a revolution, in honor of Doyen, who refused to accept the impossible, in celebration of Yuna, who learned to walk again, and in recognition of humanity's gift to the galaxy, the stubborn belief that every being deserves a second chance. Yuna stood before the monument. She was old now. Her exoskeleton showed signs of age, but her mechanical legs were new. The latest model. She upgraded them every few years. Technology kept improving. Her legs improved with it. Doyen stood beside her. He had gray hair now, lines on his face, but his eyes still held that same determination. That same stubborn refusal to quit. They made us look too serious, Doyen said, looking at the statues. Yuna laughed. We were serious. We were fighting for something important. We were terrified, Doyen corrected. I had no idea if those first legs would work. But you tried anyway, Yuna said. That is the important part. You tried when everyone else gave up. They were here for the Galactic Adaptive Technology Conference. The first one had been held 50 years ago. Now it happened every year. Thousands of delegates attended, representing dozens of species, all here to share innovations, to learn, to help more beings. The opening ceremony was about to begin. Yuna was giving the keynote speech. She did this every year, told her story, reminded people why the work mattered. Some beings had heard it before, but new people came every year. New engineers, new doctors, new beings who needed to understand. She walked onto the stage. The auditorium was packed. Beings from 47 species watched. Many wore prosthetics, mechanical limbs, adapted devices. Each one represented a life changed. Hope restored. 50 years ago, Yuna began, I sat alone in a dark corridor. I had not walked in 15 years. I had not hoped in longer. I thought my life was over, that I was broken beyond repair. She walked across the stage, demonstrating. Her legs moved perfectly. Then a human engineer stopped to watch me work. He did not see a broken thing. He saw a problem to solve. That changed everything, she told the story. The long months of work, the first failure, the stolen equipment, the desperate final attempt. The moment she walked again, people had heard it before, but they listened like it was new, because it was always new, always important. Today, over 10 million beings use adaptive technology, she continued. 10 million beings who were told they would never walk, never work, never contribute. We proved them wrong. Not just Doyen and me, all of us. Every engineer in this room. Every doctor. Every advocate. We proved that impossible is just a word. The audience erupted. Applause from dozens of species. Different sounds. Different rhythms. But all expressing the same thing. Agreement, celebration, hope. But we are not done, Yuna said when the noise faded. Millions more still sit in dark places. Still believe they are broken. Still have given up hope. Our work continues. As long as one being thinks they are beyond help, we have work to do. She finished her speech, walked off the stage to more applause. Doyen met her in the wings, hugged her. Still good at this, he said. Years of practice, Yuna replied. Throughout the day, they met with engineers and patients, saw new innovations. Prosthetics that grew with children, neural interfaces that learned and adapted, devices that worked with species nobody had helped before. Each advancement built on what came before. Each success inspired the next. Kira was there. She ran 3 centers now, trained hundreds of advocates. Her father, Overseer Thex, had passed years ago. But before he died, he apologized, thanked them, said they taught him that accepting fate was not always the kindest choice. Shale attended too. He was a master engineer now, specialized in helping crystalline species. He brought his own student, a young being who reminded Yuna of herself, broken, hopeless, but starting to believe. That evening, Yuna and Doyen returned to the museum in Level 8. It was quiet now, just the two of them and memories. They found Yuna's old workspace, preserved exactly as it had been. The terminal, the mobility platform, the dim lights, everything that represented 15 years of loneliness. Does it feel strange? Doyen asked. Being back here? Yes, Yuna said. She sat at the terminal, touched the keyboard. But good strange. This place reminds me of how far we have come, how much has changed. I first saw you here, Doyen said, working alone. Nobody paying attention. But I saw something, someone who deserved better. You saw a problem to solve, Yuna said, smiling. No, Doyen said. I saw a person, someone who mattered. The problem was just something in the way. Yuna stood, walked to where Doyen's first workshop had been. Just an empty corner now. But she remembered the tools, the materials, the hope. We changed the galaxy, she said quietly, starting from this forgotten corner. 2 beings who refused to accept fate. Humanity changed the galaxy, Doyen corrected. My people's gift. Stubborn hope. Refusal to quit. We shared that with everyone. And now it belongs to everyone, Yuna said. Human or not. We all believe it now. That impossible is just a challenge. That every being deserves a chance. They walked out of level 8 together, through corridors that were no longer dark, past beings from many species. Some wore prosthetics. Some helped others walk. The whole station had changed, grown, become something better. At the observation deck, they watched ships coming and going. So many species, so many beings, each with their own struggles, their own impossible problems. But now there was hope. Now there were solutions. Now there were people who refused to accept that anything was truly impossible. What do you think Hijin would say? Yuna asked. If she could see all this? Doyen smiled. His eyes were wet. She would say we were just getting started. That there is always more work to do. More people to help. She was right, Yuna said. There is always more work. More beings who need hope. More problems to solve. So what do we do? Yuna looked at her mechanical legs. At the human who gave them to her. At the galaxy that learned from them. We keep going. We teach others. We share what we learned. We make sure nobody ever sits alone in the dark for 15 years. We give everyone a second chance. Doyen took her hand. Together? Always together, Yuna said. That is how impossible things become possible. Working together. Human and Velthrian. Engineer and advocate. Never giving up. Never accepting that someone is beyond help. They stood there as the stars turned above them. Two beings who changed the galaxy. Not through weapons or conquest. Not through power or wealth. But through simple, stubborn hope. Through refusing to accept that anyone was truly broken. Through giving second chances to beings everyone else had given up on. Somewhere in the galaxy, a being sat alone. Disabled, forgotten, thinking they were broken. But now there was a network. Centers on dozens of worlds. Engineers who refused to accept impossible. Advocates who understood the pain. Systems in place to find those beings. To reach out. To help. The message was spreading. Carried by humans and others who learned from them. Nobody is broken. Nobody is beyond help. Some problems just need stubborn people to solve them. People who refuse to quit. Who see challenges instead of impossibilities. Who believe every being deserves a second chance. That was humanity's gift to the galaxy. Not just technology, not just engineering, but hope. Real, stubborn, impossible to kill hope. The belief that every problem has a solution. Every being has worth. Every life matters. Yuna took a step. Then another. Walking on mechanical legs that should not exist. That everyone said were impossible. Each step a reminder. Each movement a testimony. Hope was not false. Impossible was not final. Second chances were real. And somewhere in the darkness of level 8, now a museum, the lights stayed on. So nobody would ever have to sit alone in the dark again. So everyone would know that help existed. That hope was real. That humans and others would always be there. Too stubborn to quit. Too determined to fail. Too compassionate to accept that anyone was truly beyond saving. 15 years in silence. Then a human gifted her a second chance. And together they gifted the galaxy something even more valuable. Hope that refused to die. Compassion that crossed all barriers. And the stubborn human belief that impossible was just another problem waiting to be solved. The end.